Yeah, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm still going through puberty though. I'm waiting for my acne to clear up, my voice to stop cracking.
I should have done a voice warm up. And real quick, Glock loaded with the 1999 super chat. I appreciate you. He says, I agree. Thank you very much, Glock loaded. So, you've heard my little rant so far. We didn't get too far into it, but what are your thoughts so far, iFi?
Oh yeah, I'm all about the healthy body lifestyle. That's a good start. It helps you reach a healthy mind.
And, you know, I've been asked, a lot of pushback comes at the idea of perfection. Oh, well, are you perfect? Do I need to be perfect? I'm not perfect, right?
What is perfect, physically speaking?
It would be debatable. I would outline something I think would be pretty close that I probably would not follow exactly. But I think if you're eating more good than bad, good as in natural foods, right? For instance, you have your own garden, and I know you've talked about this,
Yeah,
right? Farming and using good soil, good water, etc. That is good. I mean, that's great. Fresh
organic,
vegetables, fruits.
non-GMO stuff like that.
Right, exactly. Meats. Look, I know some people on the vegetarian train. If that's good for you, then I guess so. But I am pretty sure we are supposed to eat meat, and it
Meat is
feels good.
delicious,
It
and
tastes
protein's
good.
good for you.
Protein is very good. I see a lot of people, and this is anecdotal, but on the vegetarian train who aren't feeling good, feeling weak, end up coming back to the meat.
Some people can't eat a lot of vegetables because they have like weird reactions in their body, so they have to have like a carnivore diet. Like Peterson's daughter, what's her name? Michaela.
Michaela, yeah.
Yeah. But generally speaking, most humans do fine eating meat. It's vegetarians are like vegans. They just have to, bring attention to themselves for being holier than thou. But there's nothing superior to the vegetarian diet. It's just it tends since it's mostly fruits and vegetables. Obviously, it's healthier than like someone who eats like fried shit all the time or whatever. But
Hmm.
meat's definitely good for you in the form of fish, poultry, and occasionally red meats. You don't want to eat red meats all the time. And the number one bad rule with meat is smoking it. I know men love to grill our meats. We love our grill marks and our smoking meats, but that adds a carcinogen element to it that you just brought up is not good for cancer.
And look, and I mean, there is a lot of information out there, no doubt. There's good information, there's misinformation, disinformation, right? But at the end of the day, if you're eating real meat, even if it is smoked, I would take that any day over Taco Bell, McDonald's, anything else in terms of health. But to your point, some research can help you, right? So I'm sure you weren't born knowing what you just said. You did some research, you looked into it, you heard it from somewhere initially.
Yep. One research I did was on oils. So a long time ago, people thought saturated fat was what was killing everybody, and it turns out it was this thing called trans-saturated fat. It's a thing they invented like in the 60s or 70s or something,
Yeah.
like
Yep, I'm familiar.
to make sure that like certain oils stay solid at room temperature. They
Mm.
chemically altered it, and what it does in the human body, it just turns into poison and causes cancer. So stay away
Yeah.
from the trans saturated fats.
And look, another example of misinformation would be cholesterol. There's good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. But before we get any further, thank you Intel Wild for the $5 super chat. Yo, based your thoughts on Mr. Andrew Wilson debating the Coomer blue-haired gremlin tonight. So I guess that would be destiny, huh? Here is my thoughts. I don't even know what the debate is on. I think I heard it was happening, but I don't remember what it's on. Here's my thoughts. They're both dirty debaters. Neither one of them has any thought in their brain about getting towards truth. They only want to win the debate in terms of the optical win, get more attention, that sort of thing. Destiny presents himself as exactly that, a blue-haired gremlin Coomer. Wilson presents himself as traditional man of religion, whatever. So those are my basic thoughts. As far as who wins, I don't know. I don't even know how one would consider a win when you consider what I just said.
The
But
lesser
thank
of
you
two
for the
evils.
super chat. Lesser of two evils. Look, I'm done with that shit.
But
I'm done with the lesser of two evil shit. That's
that's
the
the hot
voting shit.
topic of who's less evil, like the last debate you had with Andrew.
Yeah, yeah, right.
He changed the topic for you, but that's his style.
And Dwight Base, did you hear about Rolo's alt Twitter account? Yeah, I actually, what was it, yesterday? I think during live stream. Yesterday, the day before. I don't remember when I streamed last. Did bring that up and some of those tweets. Ridiculous. Yeah, Rolo is an idiot. He's going to continue to be an idiot. So no shocker there. And what up, Izzy?
Hey, how's it going? So
Good.
sorry, I forgot about the show. we
Oh,
were
all good.
we were supposed to do it together, and I was totally got distracted.
All good. Well, you're here now.
I am here now.
So, do you have any thoughts so far? I don't know if you've been in on any of it so far as what we've been talking about.
Eating healthy.
Well, yeah, that's where we've moved into. But in terms of the macro problems with America, that
Mm,
so many people get emotionally invested in, angry at, things that they really cannot change. Meanwhile, the things that they can change, they don't bother doing. The things that would pay huge dividends in their life. And I think that that begins with the building blocks being
mm,
healthy. We're talking about food, water quality, air quality.
yeah,
I mean, we didn't get into that yet, but that's where I would fucking start.
right.
Precious bodily fluids.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it starts within, and I'm all about taking care of your body first. You know, whether by eating healthy, going for a walk, exercising, just doing all that stuff.
Mm.
Touching grass, getting some sunshine.
Exactly.
And, speaking of Intel Wild bringing up Andrew Wilson, this was one of the topics within the debate I had with him, or just in general with him, is the idea that he is promoting Christianity, whatever. And meanwhile, look, I get it. We are addicted to things. People. I am addicted to things that aren't good for me, no doubt. But I think if you're not even striving to do better, to fix yourself, to get on healthier paths, then how can you say that you're a man of God? Because again, I'm not religious, but I would interpret that as a man of love. And you're not loving yourself if you're literally poisoning yourself purposely, or at least knowingly, cognitively, and you have no intention to fix it. You're not trying to, you don't seem to care. And in fact, his answers were all cope. Doctor told me to smoke 2 packs of cigs a day, right? No, I'm not drinking that much. Prove how much I drink. I could make a compilation of him slurring on stream, obviously drunk, sounding out of character with how he would on a debate or whatever. But what is the point? There's no way to prove it. And my bigger point was, you and I both know what it is. So, anyways, with
Yeah,
that said,
that was
uh,
the man that told you that his doctor told him that he should smoke because of his guts need it or something.
yeah, it's like saving his life or something.
That makes no sense to me. That
And
doctor should be fired.
well,
Who
I
else
was
could that?
saying he should be on a Marlboro commercial. I mean, think about it. If that was true, if that's true, he would be the fucking flagship Marlboro boy, right? Cigarettes saved my life.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Until they didn't.
And Cynthia says, I had to change the way I look at food. I think food is fuel for my body. Am I using cheap gas or good quality gas? I totally agree, right? I can kind of do the same. Think of my body as an engine. right? If you're right, I mean, to your point, the gas, the oil, the maintenance, etc., it matters. It matters a lot. Not just in the quantity of your life, because people don't think ahead, like, am I going to be 80 or 90? But the quality of your life up until then. And again, a lot of people think, oh, well, I don't want to get too big. I don't want to get too muscular if I go to the gym. Probably not. That's probably not going to happen by accident unless you're a genetic fucking freak. But meanwhile, the way that not only your body looks, which is subjective, but the way that your brain works, the way that your body feels, less prone to injuries, less prone to sickness. To me, these are major benefits that do inevitably affect your money as well.
Yeah.
So going back to the oil chart, going from worst to best. So transaturated is poison. Saturated fat is heavy. You should have it in small doses, small amounts like red meats and butter and eggs and all that jazz. And then there's the last two called mono unsaturated and poly unsaturated fats. And so mono unsaturated fats are what they're called, like omega-6 oils or something. So it's basically like your soybean oils, your vegetable oils, stuff like that. Turns out, even though it's slightly healthier than saturated fat, a lot of people have a bad side effect from omega-6 oils, which is inflammation. So it can cause, like, other unpleasant effects in the body, even though it's slightly healthier than saturated fat. And so it's basically found in like fish oils and like walnut oil and flaxseed oils and stuff like that. So flax seeds are very rare to be eaten by humans yet or anything like that. So you basically just add it to like your salad dressing or whatever. But fish is the best way to get omega-3s. So
And
that's
quick
why
pause.
fish
Just want to do a little shout out, Jess, on day 9 of no cigarettes.
That's awesome.
Good job. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Here's what I'll tell you. There's probably going to be times that it's easier, and you may notice, even moving forward, you may have a tough time, right? Stress comes in. With that said, I incur a 20-year smoker, smoked a few years in Marine Corps, is what it is. But quitting, not easy, but I definitely believe you will feel a lot better over the next month, year, years. So good on you.
Yeah, that's really awesome. You know,
I
the other
smoked.
thing
Go
is,
ahead.
sorry.
I was about to say I smoked cigarettes for like 5 or 6 years and then just quit cold turkey. So it's physically possible.
It is. That's awesome though, but it is different for everybody. I've never smoked or, I'm not a drinker either, by choice. Anyway, I was gonna say, oftentimes people eat for the sake of eating. I come from nothing, so when we ate, it was when we were hungry. And I notice here people just eat just to eat.
Like regularly scheduled times, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah,
and
that
brunch.
I never understood. Well, that is actually good for your body because your body needs, when people say, oh, I skipped breakfast, it's actually a huge mistake because what happens then, your body will hold on to the fat because your body
Well,
now,
more back to your point though, like if you ate a big breakfast, you might want to skip a lunch if you're not hungry. So you should only eat when you're hungry.
right, or smaller portions, your body literally will hold on to, if you just starve it, will hold on to everything as fat.
Well, with that said, I actually do believe that fasting once in a while is a good thing in moderation.
Right.
Right, the health effects that can come from that. So, not making a prognosis for anyone what they should do, but personally, I think doing, let's say, a 24-hour, maybe a little bit longer, once a month, for instance, is a good thing.
Like
It's been shown that that like blood cells regrow, all sorts of positive effects, anti-cancer, etc.
Right. Again, what I come from, people will actually fast for 30 days. Now, I don't know if that's healthy or not, but starving yourself is definitely not a good way to try to stay fit. Just eat healthy, smaller portions, and you'll be fine.
Now, with that said, hey, and I don't know if the audio is still fucked up. It's good on my end.
Audio
So,
check 1 2 3. Can you guys hear me?
yeah, you sound fine. Everyone here sounds fine to me. So maybe it's a StreamYard with YouTube issue right now. I'm not totally sure.
Everybody sounds fine on panel, so
Who's
maybe
saying that
YouTube.
there's something?
So, with that said, Izzy, okay, so I guess it's better. With that said, I believe that what's happening isn't just that people are eating out of boredom, but they're addicted to certain chemicals, whether it's refined sugars or chemicals within the foods. And that kind of mixed with boredom is creating the illusion of hunger at times when people aren't actually technically hungry, but they think that they are. And so I guess the way I would look at it is one would need to purge those items from their body, which, won't be easy at first, right? Doing that for a couple days or what have you can make a huge difference towards getting back on a good track.
Right.
Lots of things can affect your eating schedule, like marketing. You could be like watching lots of commercials that make you hungry, or social interaction where you go out with friends and they say, let's go out to eat, even though you're not hungry. You'll just like eat with them just to be social.
And what up, BSBT?
What's going on, man? Hey, I just had a quick question for Izzy real fast. Izzy, I saw you on like the F3 channel and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever had the chance to like talk to you, but I just
does it have anything to do with the topic today?
No, I was trying to put it in the chat, so my apologies if I redirect the conversation, but I would just like to kind of know why she was saying like she was gonna buy, like how much it would cost to buy like Vegas VIP.
All right. So BSBT, I kicked you because you didn't come on here to start some fucking drama.
I've never said that either.
So, anyways, moving on.
These are the days of our lives.
What the heck is this?
Yeah.
Like sands through the hourglass.
So I have pulled up here, right, to take a look at some quick stats, I guess, about fast food. And I would consider fast food to be, for instance, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, any of that type of bullshit. So most Americans eat fast food 1 to 3 times a week. I would think that once a month would be more than sufficient. Says a third of Americans are eating fast food on any given day. It seems a little redundant of the first part. People ages 20 to 39 eat the most fast food. Yeah. Men consume more than women, whatever. 83% of American families eat at a fast food restaurant at least once a week. Wow. And that average American household spends 10% of their annual income on fast food. Now, when you consider the average American spending 10% of their annual income, consider that many people don't eat fast food. Now, granted, it's the minority, but this stat, I would assume, is, taking that into account, meaning that the people who do eat fast food are spending more than 10%. It would have been better if they actually went into that. But anyways. And then we have, let's see here, 34% of children eat fast food on any given day. Regular consumption increases risk to obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and depression, which, look, 2 of those on that list we just looked at in terms of top 10 killers of Americans.
Obesity.
Yeah, obesity is a big one.
Especially in America, where we have too much.
Mm-hmm.
And look at this last one. McDonald's brought in, it looks like, $130 billion with a B dollars worldwide, 2019. That is fucking ridiculous.
It's insane.
And thank you, Chuck in Tennessee. All hail based Oracle. I agree, Chuck. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. So just looking at some of these, I get it. To most people, these are probably just like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit? But my point is, if you think of this as normal, right? Eating yoga mat and what were we talking about? Trans fats, disgusting things. I mean, people talk about you don't want to be the butcher, right? Like in terms of eating meat. Well, you definitely don't want to meet the chemist and the scientist and actually see what goes into the fast food that you're eating. But here's another place I think that the tires meet the road is that you look at commercials on TV and they make it look good. It triggers people. Yes, Chuck. It trigger.
Sure.
What's that?
It's a mind game.
Yeah. It's deceptive.
It's the American lifestyle. It's a lot of it's about convenience because there's a lot of people who work a lot and they don't have time to cook for themselves, so they just like get off of work and stop by the drive-through on the way home for their supper or whatever. And so there's that convenience factor. But as far as the content, the most dangerous parts are the heavy amount of carbs and especially the fried carbs. Those are the worst kind.
Yeah.
Hey, so check it out. We're going to do a quick derail here. Broken system, whatever, BSBT. So here, check this out. BSBT, I can buy anyone on YouTube. I can buy anyone. So you can go ahead and clip that. And now you have been fucking banned. I'm on a banning little streak here tonight. So you're banned. Go ahead and clip that, BSBT. But now you're fucking banned. Not because I care about whatever your beef is with Izzy, but you interrupted my fucking show for nothing. So you can now go fuck yourself.
He's also a troll anyway. They're on, yeah. But, you know, you're talking about convenience, and I agree with you. As a mother of very, very active children, and we're constantly from one sport to another, I totally get it. I get why people would want to stop and just get supper on the way or in between games or whatnot. At the same time, I am not that, you know, in that category. I mean, like, I have my own food and everywhere. You know what I mean? So I also understand, like, you could literally just make the food ahead of time and just pack and go, you know?
But not everyone has time to do farming at home. That's the catch. It's like some people want to, but they just don't have that time. So they just skip it.
It's literally just like put in seeds in pots and let it grow.
No, I'm totally with it. I am not able to at the moment, but I've talked a little bit about aquaponics I invested a ton of time and money into attempting to do. Anyways, welcome Joe Cool. What up, man?
Thank you. I'm so fucking impressed with you, Base. You make my morning the way you treat niggas. I'm just saying. Izzy, that fucking bottom lip, this is inappropriate. Base might pop me, but that bottom lip, I want to suck on it. And
bro,
I'm not well versed on, you know, the food stuff. That's why I'm usually quiet during these things. I'm the guy who smokes weed and Black and Miles all the days. And Base, I intentionally parked away from the protest yesterday, and then they walked a mile in the other fucking direction, and I toughed it out and didn't stop with you in mind. And I'm trying to keep it up. I'm gonna be quiet.
No, but look, Joe, you mentioned in chat earlier, right, working on improving, and I give you major props for that. It shouldn't be as much as you give yourself for doing it. But nonetheless, you got my support. I mean,
you were my coach yesterday. Literally, I wanted to stop 6 times. I never walk like that. I pull up to where I'm going and get back in the car when I'm done. It was brutal. I was blaming you, but now I'm thanking you.
Awesome.
Well, luckily, marijuana doesn't have a lot of calories, so you don't have to worry about obesity. But your lungs might not be thanking you much longer. You might want to go easy on the smoking.
Thank you, iPod. You're right. Thank you.
And Uncle Guns, real quick. Hey, look, we making some changes around here, and for now on, you DJZ, use the ban hammer a little more effectively. We've given people in the chat throughout this little journey plenty of leadway to not show their fucking asses. And now that I realize they're not going to change, just fucking boot them. They're gone. They're done.
So the good news, Joe, is you don't have to smoke
Love that.
marijuana. You can eat it. There's lots of edible versions of marijuana where you get all the good stuff, the THC, the cannabinoids or whatever, all that.
Yeah, trust me, I'm an addict. I've tried them all, and I really prefer flower.
What do you mean flower?
AC, I mean, weed. What would you call it? Give me another word for flower, somebody.
Bud?
Bud, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, but I mean, yeah, you can still eat bud, but that's less fun. But they've made like edible versions of marijuana that's a lot more pleasant than smoking it. You still get all the good stuff from it, but without the carcinogens.
Well, it is different. And I can tell you I have an experience with both in what I would call moderation. I'm sure much less than most people use, just based on what I've seen. I find it to be beneficial. I use it for my injuries. Plus, I fucking like it. Again, I don't think that we're ever going to get away from using drugs. I think that moderation is the answer, and picking and choosing. What is good for you? What is bad for you? Looking at the effects they have on you. I am sure that, Joe Cool talking about, he's up here, reducing his sugar intake. I could be wrong, but I'm fucking not. He's going to feel better and better as he does it. Now, Joe Cool isn't overweight from anything that I've seen, but you don't need to be overweight to be unhealthy. And not saying that he is overall unhealthy. I'm just saying you don't need to be.
I'm unhealthy. I wonder if that sugar didn't play into it in my walk yesterday. So I started drinking water. Now, I've never drank water, probably in months. Literally, I haven't drinking water. I got a big ass. Yeah, just it's not something I do. But I was wondering if the sugar wasn't making it so difficult for me to. It was miles, but it was people run miles. I couldn't walk miles.
Well, think about it. Refined sugar is an inflammatory. And I understand there's some people that are like,
know that.
Some people are like, stay away from fruit. I think that is very bad advice. I think that fruit is good for you. There's fructose in fruit. That is the sugar. With that said, refined sugar, processed sugar, is known to be an inflammatory. There's correlation. I'm not a doctor. There's no medical advice here. But there's correlation between refined sugar and cancer. And other health diseases,
that's
issues.
What cancer feeds off of is the sugar.
My brother's got cancer.
Now, the pharmaceutical industry would rather you, instead of stopping sugar, is to buy supplements. There's a new weight loss one. There's been a million weight loss ones. But things that are highly destructive to your body, have severe side effects. And at the end of the day, don't stop people from eating refined sugar. They'll keep eating the bullshit that they're eating and then taking a pill or an injection or whatever. And for one thing, it's not sustainable. And another, it doesn't fix the root issue.
Well, sugar is the catch-22 because you need sugar to live, but it's also the most addictive drug on earth, and so that's why diabetes is.
You can get it out of your fruit and shit, though, right?
Yeah, that's the best way to get your sugar, but people eat fruit and they eat sugar in all their like sweeteners and their dipping sauce and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
And their soda
I would
pops.
say your body needs natural sugar. Believe it or not, it takes your body 5 days for your stomach to shrink to begin with. If you are eating healthy, like literally 5 days, and your stomach will start shrinking. But I'm talking about amount of food.
I'm glad you said that. One of my buddies just got an operation, and I'm wondering if I didn't misspeak. And you know how they make your stomach really small. And I told this girl I was talking to, because people stretch their stomach so much, that's the only way to get it back small. Are you telling me just don't eat and it'll shrink?
Yeah, if you actually start eating less, your stomach will actually shrink. So I was diabetic.
Hey, Crispy, baby.
You were. Oh yeah, what's up, Crispy? You were diabetic previously, Izzy?
So when I was, it started with gestational diabetes. After pregnancy, it happened with a lot of people of color for some reason. And actually, I was really tiny. I mean, I only gained 18 pounds with just about all of my pregnancies. Anyway, so somehow I got it, and it stayed with me. So it stays with 40% of women if they don't, eat health. It's type 2, by the way.
Right.
But I, yeah, focused on just eating as clean as possible, and yeah, it went away.
I had a buddy, same thing. He got diagnosed. It was the worst shit in the world. He went and bought all the saltless chips and all of that. He thought that was going to be the path. Now he eats better and it's gone. He just eats better and
Right,
no medication, no doctor visits. He's
right.
normal again.
Same. I, yep, started by walking and then just going back to jogging and all of that.
So the way I put it is junk food, just to classify some food as just junk food, that junk food is a double whammy in terms of if that's all that you're eating is junk food, then not only are you getting all the chemicals, all the bullshit, the sugar, but you're also missing out on all the nutrients, micronutrients of real food. And yes, just another Canadian clip channel, whatever. This is pre-recorded, and me saying this is also pre-recorded.
Crispy, did I fall asleep on you? I'm pretty sure I did last night.
You fall asleep on everyone, Joe. Wake up.
That's funny.
Wake up, sheeple. So the double whammy about sugar is a lot of people don't realize it, but when they try to cut sugar out of their diet, they don't understand that carbs will instantly turn into sugar in your body. So for example, if you eat a slice of white bread, of like processed white flour bread, that shit will instantly turn into sugar once your body digests it. And so a better way to eat carbohydrates is like whole grain breads as opposed to refined grain breads, because whole grain breads makes your body has to work to break it down, and it takes longer for your body to get to the sugars, and so it like kind of cancels out a little bit of the sugar
I
effect.
agree. Look, even buying bread, literally buying bread at the grocery store, if you're in the aisle where they just have a bunch of breads that'll be good for months, that's generally not the bread to buy. Whereas you go to the bakery section, let's say, where the bread will go bad in a week or whatever.
The next
Uh,
day.
right, yeah. I mean, that is where you want to get your bread. If you want to eat
What
healthier
about
bread.
what about
Same
bacon?
with
It
cheese.
looks like it's like 3 ingredients to bake your own bread or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never
flour and
done it,
water.
but
It's just flour and water, and sometimes yeast if you want it fluffy.
Right. But see, like, we were just in Italy, and I mean, they talk about pasta, bread, pizza, you name it, but they all look very healthy. What
They
what I
probably not
noticed,
having a steak with it like Americans are.
well, that, but they also walk everywhere. They don't take their car and
That's
drive
the
everywhere.
key. They burn
Yes.
their carbs. Americans don't burn their carbs.
Yeah. And actually, burning sugar is faster than burning fat.
and
Definitely.
look, Uncle Guns. Looks like we have some disagreement here. That's
Oh
okay.
no.
But with that said, the whole grain BS lies. Look, even if you don't believe in whole grain, look at the bread that is whole grain, the ingredients, what it is as far as the health stats. You'll generally notice more fiber, which is good for you for so many fucking
Yeah.
reasons, than the shit bread, as well as micronutrients that generally you won't see or as much of in the shit bread. So I'd absolutely disagree with you on what you're referring to as the whole grain BS lies.
Yeah, Uncle Guns, just watch documentaries about like the type of flour used in breads. And again, when you look at processed refined flour, it looks like powdered sugar or something. You know, it's like so light and fluffy. Whole grain flour has like big chunks of the plant still in it and stuff like that, and so you can physically see the difference. But chemically, it's also very different and requires different processes. So it's science. They've proved it now. It's not a theory anymore.
And the next thing I'm going to pull up here, right? I don't think this affects any of us personally, but with that said, America, this is all about America. So this was a few years back data. I'm sure it's more fucked up now. But nearly 1 in 3 adults overweight, 2 in 5 obesity, 42.4% to be exact. You imagine that 2 out of 5 adults is obese. Like, what the fuck?
That would
There.
mean based that 4 out of 5 of us are overweight.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't understand why it said 1 out of 3 are overweight, but 2 out of 5 are obesity. It must be how they define it. And then it says 1 in 11 have severe obesity. I'm pretty sure those stats are up. But look, more importantly, to me anyways, is that 1 in 6 children and adolescents are overweight. That's a high proportion to be overweight. And 1 out of 5 obese, 1 out of 16 severe obesity. I saw this, I don't know if it was Twitter clip. I really don't remember. But anyways, this little girl, she was like 6 years old, over 100 pounds. I don't even know how to explain how fat she was. It was very unfortunate. But anyway, she's at one of those playground places, the indoor ones, and she's trying to climb up the stairs to go down the slide, and she's out of breath on the stairs, like she's trying to make it up the stairs. And look, this is a
This
parenting
is
problem.
sad. I'm smiling a little bit. Is that bad watching a fat kid crawl up the stairs in my head?
I mean, it's like
actually sad.
it is sad. It's
That's
like
bad parenting.
it is. It's really bad parenting. I would call it child abuse. Some people would refer to it as that. Now, I think the parents would talk about, because I've heard this time and time again, oh, well, the kid, they're always hungry, or we don't
Yep.
have money to eat healthy, or whatever
Yep.
other cope
I've heard
bullshit you
both
want to
of
come up
them.
with.
I've heard both
And
of them.
it is, I mean, as Jody's saying, it's just normalizing the behavior. It's coping about the rationale, like, oh, well, it that's just her body. She has, what do people blame it on? The
Genetics.
thyroid or something.
Overactive thyroid.
And I'm not saying that some people don't have
It
that, but
can
it's not 1 out of 2 fat people have an overactive
Hey,
thyroid.
Base, she's not fat. She's just big boned. You don't understand.
But by the way, this BMI, can
That
you go
was the
back to
joke.
that?
Yeah.
I don't really think this is accurate, because you could be 130 pounds, but it's just fat with no muscles.
No, I totally agree with you. I'm not a big fan of the BMI either. However, on a plane, most Americans don't seem to just have really big muscles. So I agree with you. It's not a perfect situation. But look, I don't need a BMI index to see that this
Right.
is unhealthy. Right? It just is. And I'm not trying to shame them. I'm just saying
Right.
this is not it. And
You
I'm
know-
thinking that 2 of them are probably younger. And if this isn't obese, morbidly obese, then I guess I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Y'all ever
BM
see the photos where they'll show video of the people like going to baseball games and crowds in the past? How few people look like that, and then they'll show the current people going to games, and 80% of them look like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That is striking to see. We were not that big 50 years ago.
So
Right.
BMI is good as shortcut, but it's not the whole picture. You have to have muscle content when you do BMI charts, because you
I
need to know
agree.
if it's like a bodybuilder or not. But
Yeah,
it's
I
a good
agree.
shortcut.
I think fat percentage is a good way to look at it. If you're 40% body fat, and granted, not everyone gets their body fat tested, but I'm just saying, if you're 40%, I don't care how much muscle you have, you're unhealthy.
Right. Yeah, I agree. No, yeah, according to the
go on.
BMI, I mean, even according to the, calculation there, I should be losing like 11 pounds. I'm like, I can't even afford losing.
I can't
know,
find it to give it away.
No, I agree with you. I don't think that those charts are perfect by any means. But anecdotally, combined with the statistics, when I go out, and I've been, again, kind of all over the U.S., but when I go out, I see a tremendous amount of this. It's not like, oh, once in a while, once in a blue moon. No, I see this every day. I see it at the gym. And hey, good on them for, trying to do something.
Yeah.
And I want to answer Chuck real quick. So Chuck, 6'1", 197, I'm overweight. I'll tell you what, Chuck, that does not sound bad, especially in this world. I mean, look, the problem is a lot of men are 6'1", and 300 pounds, or at least 250, right? So maybe you're overweight. I don't know. You would know more than me. But if you are, I doubt by much.
All my friends fall into that 6 foot 250 category. It is the norm.
Right.
That's why you need muscle content, Chuck, to know if it's muscle or fat. That's most of the weight. And also, overweight is a scientific chart, not an American standard. So like what Americans call overweight is actually obese, and like what scientists call overweight just means it's slightly above the perfect weight range, which, again, it's not saying you're like fat or like, like have huge health risks. It's just saying you're going out of the range of the optimum range. So you're on your way to becoming obese.
I get it.
And quick shout out, what up, Primal Studies? The charts are just a guideline. It's not very good for athletic builds. No, totally agree. That's why, again, I would revert to body fat percentage rather than BMI, but still wanted to take a look at the stats. The stats are not looking good. And again, anecdotally, look on the news, all over. If you're not seeing people that you know are unhealthy just looking at them, I don't know where the fuck you are, but it's not America.
Also, there's lots of at-home scales you can buy that will tell you your fat content. So again, if you check your fat content and then put that on the BMI chart, you'll know whether or not you're in a healthy weight range.
Yeah, I have one of those scales. I don't find it to be all that exact. Yeah, I mean, they do some pulse readings. I really don't think they're that accurate. It might get you within a few percentage, but it's definitely not going to get you to a T. I think mine says right now that I'm like 14%. And at the moment, I don't know. I haven't ran an actual, I forgot what it's called, but you can do I don't remember what it's called. I think you dip yourself, you go in like a water tank and they measure.
Yeah, density.
Yeah. So anyways, the idea is though, I mean, here's where I want to separate some things. So I'm not talking about just how one looks, all right? I'm talking about this look is just a telltale sign that you are unhealthy on the inside. There's plenty of skinny people, what we would call skinny people, who are very unhealthy. Their liver, organs, whatever, are fucked. And reason being for a lot of them, they're eating shit. Now, their metabolic rate, how they process food, allows them to not store body fat, which Americans, most people seem to think is a good thing, right? They'll talk about, oh, I'm so jealous. You can eat candy and soda and whatever, and you don't put on any weight. I'm so jealous. Well, if you think about it, that's a bad thing. Because maybe if they had gotten, if they did store all that as fat and they got what we would refer to as obese, they would have actually started eating healthy and taking care of themselves. So what one person thinks of is, oh, I'm jealous. I wish that I didn't store fat. You could actually look at it the opposite way.
Oh, that's interesting.
Also, genetics is completely irrelevant because you can't change genetics. So, you can brag about being able to eat a lot and not gain weight, but that doesn't change the game for everyone else. So everyone else has to, burn calories in order to not gain weight. So
right.
It
still affects their mind, though. I don't care how skinny they are. I mean,
Agreed.
It's still going to affect their brain cells and mind and how their body functions, I was shocked when I
moved.
Exactly. When I moved to this country, I was shocked by the food portions here. I was literally like, holy cow, that's a lot of food.
And I think it's intentional in many ways to make, a regular soda at McDonald's, a 24 ounce. I don't know what it actually is, but it's fucking big. Whereas, if you were going to drink soda, let's say it's a once in a while thing, probably like a 6 or 8 ounce. Those little cans are good.
High fructose corn syrup. That's all you're drinking. With a little bit of water to help it wash it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that goes back to the quantity and quality of the food you eat because both matter.
Yeah,
right.
This is my vice. But it's the tiny one.
Look, again, nobody's perfect, right? I got a vice right here. I drink one of these every couple days. There's no calories. It's the fake sugar, but usually drink one every other day. That's some bullshit that I drink. It is what it is.
It's the same, the zero stuff, but
it's a lot better than I used to drink.
You might want to be careful with the fake sugars because those tend to be chemicals that go into the cancer realms.
I agree, I-Fi. Again, we all do drugs, right? We're talking about our vices, what we do.
I don't know about drugs, though. That's you guys.
Well, I refer to it as a drug, a buffer, right?
Yeah.
So here's another part to take a look at. So one of the big distinctions, nutrition density, right? You're eating fast food where, let's say, whatever the combo you get from Arby's or whatever the fuck it is, has 1,800 calories and very little nutrition in it. Whereas, for instance, you can eat a bag of spinach. Not that you would do this, but you could eat a whole ass bag and get under 100 calories and plenty of micronutrients.
All calories are not created equal.
Right.
1,000 calories of kale is a lot better than 1,000 calories of French fries.
So one of my main points, bringing this back to the big picture, is that whatever you decide to do with your daily food intake, whatever habits you make, you're under control of them. So you can do something about it. So if you don't care at all, if you're just like, well, I eat fast food all day, every day, soda all day, every day, cigarettes, alcohol, maybe real drugs, whatever, on social media all day, right? Another intake right to the mind. That I really don't give a fuck who you want as president or what you think of the laws or anything else. You're not even willing to take care of yourself. So why in the fuck should I care about what you have to say, your opinion on me or society?
It's a great point.
Word.
Starts
So here's a useful alternative to fast food. So for people that don't have time to cook, I like to go to the grocery store into their little sushi section and pick up a little box of sushi and a side order of seaweed salad. And those are very healthy, tasty things that you can eat that are fresh and healthy.
What's a Togo box? Sarah just said something about a Togo box.
To go. Like,
To go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
What was your point or question, Wi-Fi?
My point was a better alternative to fast
What
food
up, Sarge?
is to stop by the grocery store, and they have those little like pre-made boxes of like sushis or little deli meats or whatever, sandwiches. Obviously the little fried foods aren't so good for you. That's why I said like sushi is a really healthy meal. It's fish and rice essentially, and they usually mix little vegetables in it, little cucumbers, little avocado, whatever, and so a lot of that stuff's really healthy and tastes good too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Some of us are allergic to all that shellfish stuff, though. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously everyone has to do specifically what works for them. And to your point, there's some people allergic to peanuts or fish or certain fruits, vegetable, whatever it is. And obviously, if that's what it is, that's what it is. The good news is there's so many other foods that you could eat and replace it with
True.
as far as macros.
Most sushi's not shellfish, by the way. It's usually like salmon and tuna and stuff like that. So.
Oh, okay. There's
I am
a
so outclassed in this conversation, bro.
Old-
This is just over.
Old Sarge, I would steer away from gas station sushi because that's the really questionable quality meats.
That's
But
true.
if you go to like a Kroger or something, they have pretty good, actual fish fresh
We don't
sushi.
have
So-
Kroger.
So what I would tell, well, let me read this real quick. Primal Studies, keep hearing this concept of don't have enough time. Yeah, I've been hearing that forever from everyone. Right? Not everyone, but a lot of people. It's just a fucking cope. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. You choose how you spend them. Choose wisely. I totally agree. And choose wisely the habits you make and the ones that should be broken. Right? Meal prep is a hell of a thing. Right? There's times where I'll make 3 days worth of lunches or dinners or whatever. And I like to switch up what I eat a good amount. But still stay within kind of the macro, micro concepts, right? I'll get different vegetables this week than last week just to get the rainbow, right? That whole thing. But yeah, look, people have time. They're like, oh, I don't have time to eat healthy. But you have time to stand in line at fast food 3 times a day? Like, where did you get that time? You have time to drive there 3 times a day, then stand in line 3 times a day, then get your Starbucks full of sugar twice a day. You got all that time, but you don't have time for meal prep, or you don't have time to cook a healthy meal, period.
You're seeing the
That's
guys get
wild.
super fat and be like, I can't walk, so I can't exercise. I saw Joe Rogan say, "You walk your big ass to that fridge, don't you?" Okay, you can walk.
So another time saver tip is to make smoothies. It's really quick and easy just to get one of those little Ninja blender, whatever looking things. Dump a bunch of healthy stuff in there, including stuff that tastes good like blueberries and strawberries. That makes your smoothie taste good. But you can put all kinds of healthy stuff in there that you won't taste, and that's a real good way to quickly make a healthy meal. And you
I'm
can
gonna
make
go get a milkshake. I fight. Thanks for the suggestion. I'm gonna go get a milkshake and just ruin the panel with it.
no smoothie, not
I'm gonna
milkshake.
make my own. I got ice cream in there, and just. I'm gonna go make a milkshake. I'll be back.
That's a lot of carbs.
Hey,
You're
Joe
gonna pay
Cool.
for it.
Yeah.
Did you check out the video? Check out the video I posted while you're leaving.
No one up here has my number. Okay, I'll check it out. Then I'll leave. Is it in the back check? Is it?
What's
Because
that?
if I click on a link, it's gonna pull me away from.
It's in my channel.
Also, Joe, don't make snacks when you're high. That's another reason why you eat unhealthy shit.
What's on your channel? You want to see the last video, Izzy?
Yeah, you sub to my channel.
Yeah, but I'm sub like literally hundreds and hundreds. Can you just put a link in the back chat to the video you want to see, and it'll snatch me away, but I'll watch it and then make my milkshake.
Yeah, sorry about that, Base.
No.
I'll have you do.
And what's up, CJ? How you doing?
What's up, man? I have a message for all serious fat people. I'm
as
I'm
opposed to
serious.
non-serious ones.
There's a difference. I used to weigh 220, believe it or not, because I'm tiny now, but I cut out bread and sugar for an extended period, and it literally falls off of you. I know that's all the good stuff. I'm aware it's all the good stuff, but if you're serious, that's why I was saying it. Like bread and sugar. I mean, working out, obviously, but I still don't put sugar in my coffee because I never went back to it.
And that includes pasta and noodles too. That's just
seriously, it's very. And I'm not saying I 100% cut it out. I'm sure I cheated here and there or whatever. I mean, not here and there, but for the majority of, I don't even know how long it was, I cut out bread and sugar. Enough so that I feel confident saying it.
That'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's many ways to skin a cat. And, if we're talking about junk bread, like just some Sara Lee, on the shelf white bread bullshit, I'd say that's a very good thing to cut out. Either permanently or at least like 99% of the time, right? If you have it once a month, right, go to a friend's house or go out to eat or whatever the case, not so bad. But when you do it every day, when you eat that shit every day, I think it's highly addictive.
I've gotten bad on sugar again. Like I like eating like pecan pies and stuff like that. But the worst part, in my opinion, is that soy is in everything. Like all the good stuff has soy in it. At least the cheap stuff.
Inflammatory oils, they got omega-6s in them.
Yeah, the inflammatory properties of many of the chemicals in our foods is crazy. I mean, think about it, the way that you feel. If you have injuries, I know I've talked about mine here a little bit, right? Had a pretty intense, extensive back surgery, and yet I'm still very physically active. So, Chuck, I don't know. I was throwing out a name. I could think of a name brand one, and not to say that mainstream companies don't have some decent products. And then who is this? Damn, why he go by Silver Tongue Cavalier? What's his name again?
Neurojack.
Yeah, Jack. There we go. I'll put the link in here for you.
He too is a black man.
Who?
I was going by the avatar. That was a joke.
So,
Is that
again,
Neurojack?
yeah, Neurojack. Yeah.
Neurojack's not black. Neither is Nate.
I know that. That's why.
Yeah, I fight. What the fuck? I resent that shit. Didn't I prove that? I won all the rap diss shit, whatever.
Oh yeah, word.
So going back to let's bring it back to the main topic, because this whole topic is not about just healthy food or not healthy food. It's about America. And there's so many problems that we cannot do anything about. You cannot do anything about, at least today. Not easily, not definitively. You can't change the voting structure or the way things work, the laws on paper. You could do things like petition or get mad, angry, post on social media. But I look at it as so many Americans don't give a fuck about the things that they can change. So with that said, why are you worried about these things you can't change, and meanwhile the things you can change that would help you tremendously you don't do? And I'm going to bring this back to politics. So the way I look at it, a lot of people talk about, oh, we need to reform this law and we need to get rid of this politician and, on and on. The way I look at it is, if more people, most people in fact, were doing the right things for themselves, these other issues, these macro issues would sort of fix themselves, meaning that people would respect themselves enough to actually fight back, to actually do the right things. And Mudcrab, where is the Resto diss? Oh, yeah. I think today Resto's supposed to have that diss for Glenn Lawrence. We'll see. And
Really?
Chuck in Tennessee, $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. How much to kick hi-fi?
Oh,
Just serious. Oh, wait. No, shit. It said just kidding. All right.
I
And
love
what up,
you.
Neurojack?
Hello.
Oh, now you're an alien.
He's always been an alien. He's a part of the Illuminati.
Yeah, and hold up. Mindful exposures. Every time you spend your money, you cast your vote for the kind of world that you want. I
Word.
totally agree. There's something I've been talking about. Not just money, but time, money, attention. And obviously there's some overlap in there. But my point is that more of your voting happens outside of the voting booth than within the voting booth.
Every time you spend your views, likes, and clicks, don't forget those.
Right.
That's fair.
Have you been on the Jim Bob channel, CJ? You look very familiar.
Yeah, I normally check his. Yeah, I watch his every day.
How have you been treated over there?
You know I have. Do you not know? You know I have. What do you mean been treated? I mean, it's a chat room, so I don't know.
We need
Not
to
well.
have Jim Bob on over here. He's a cool guy.
I mean, overall, they're in a kind of culty, just like every other big chat room.
What?
It seems like.
Nicole. That's impossible.
They don't take too kindly to non-orthodox over there.
We don't take kindly
Yeah,
to like you around here, boy.
We're
I just
little
like
cults.
Jim Bob.
I like Jim Bob too. He's really friendly, just not with me, but it's okay. I like him. He's
Yeah,
funny.
I don't think he would be with me either after all the Andrew Wilson stuff.
Yeah, I hate the whole him teaming up with them thing. To be honest, I don't like it.
Well, that's why I
But-
think that's why I got pushed out. Because like the thing is, like, I generally subscribe to Christianity. I generally subscribe to Christian nationalism as an idea, just because I think, okay, Christian ethics is good. But I'm also like, okay, well, I came in because of what Base Oracle was just saying there, which is like, okay, so like, I don't like this policy. I don't like this happening. Okay, how can we actually get things done? Well, when you start actually talking about how the rubber might actually meet the road, well, suddenly people don't like that very much. It's like, well,
They have to do something.
other
agree.
people will do that for you. Elon Musk got our back, bro. Trump got
Yeah.
our back. Pence got our back. It's like, come on, man. Like, that's
I'm not even pretending I'm good at it, but at least I do some things, and that's more than other people.
That's why you got to eat healthy and exercise if you want to build conservataria, mine comrades.
So here's what I would call the bigger scheme of things is eating healthy food. Obviously, drinking healthy water kind of goes hand in hand. Meaning, right? Some people are like, water. What do you mean water? Non-fluoridated, filtered if you live in a big city. It's not very expensive. It's very cheap depending on how you do it. And getting clean air. Now, look, I live in a city. Cities are polluted. You can probably see I got some plants, right? It's not a huge thing, but I got more. But, I got like
40
5
acres
plants.
of trees if you want
It's
to borrow them.
it's not because I fucking love plants. Oh, I'm a big planter. No, it's because I want my
It's
air
really for the
purified.
air.
Right.
Really? I didn't think about that.
I got
Yeah.
40 acres of trees if you want to borrow them sometime.
I would. Yes. I certainly would.
I might have
Where's
to
your
get a
mule?
plant now.
Did you sell your mule? Those things are pretty useful.
Mule.
So next thing it would be, I would say, stretching, right? I do yoga. Some people think that's gay. Some people are fucking dumb.
Some people
Yoga
said
is good.
Some people said that yoga's is inside.
Is what?
That's how demons get in your anus.
Whether it's Pilates, Tai Chi, or yoga, all stretching is good for the human body.
I mean, I never knew about the demon thing, but but for real, been very beneficial given my injuries and surgery, things like that. And it's another thing that you have to do. You have to actually do it. The hardest part is actually making it there. And quick interruption. Thank you, Izzy, for this interruption. Appreciate it. Thanks for always kicking out the trolls. Yeah, look, we getting more. I was gonna say, you know what? No, we're just keeping it real.
High quality.
Yeah, we're
Well, see, this
keeping
should
the
be
quality
proof that
up.
I'm not a troll because I'm here, Andrew. You see this?
QAQC. That's what we're doing here. Right, Jack?
So, any other thoughts, Neuro and CJ? I know you hopped in pretty recently. Any thoughts, pushback, or further extrapolations of what we were talking about? Essentially, America is pretty fucked up, and there's many ways that we can see this. And not to say that everyone is fucked up. That's not what I mean. But in terms of, I don't trust most people. I don't want to be around most people. I don't give a fuck what most people are doing. How they're voting doesn't affect me at this point. I mean, it affects me, but I remove myself from it to have the least amount of effect.
DJ, if you have something, you go ahead. If not, I have.
I agree with everything you said, especially about the taking action on the things that you can do being more important than how you're voting. Like that's like obvious, I believe, or it should be. But I really thought this was a nutrition talk. That's why I hopped on. I don't really have any deep theories on the whole topic.
Talking on nutrition, so I'll just say my piece and I'll let you continue with nutrition because
I gotta get to the gym anyway.
Dude.
Good.
I have thoughts on nutrition, but I don't have the bandwidth to get into that because my mind's on other things. But briefly on what you said, like I pretty much agree with what you said. I think the thing is this: it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to simply survive, I would give you a totally different strategy. If your goal is to actually quote unquote save humanity from what's coming, whatever it might be, I have a pretty good
Robot
idea.
hard, dude.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on.
About every other word's coming through.
Oh, he gone.
Typical Jack. Always
So,
use
Well, I'm
that
gonna
valid
head
word.
to. Thanks,
All right,
thanks
cool.
for having me, man.
Yeah, CJ. We'll see you, man. So, yeah, I mean, I think what Neuro was saying is his strategy would be different. Oh, he back. You back, Neuro. You on mute, though.
Push all the buttons, Jack. One of them will work.
Am I good now?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay,
you still
sorry.
have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm good. Okay, so so really briefly, I'll just be really brief. So I think that I agree with what you said. I think it depends on what your goal is. If you just want to survive, that's one strategy. If you actually want to save humanity or save America, very, very different strategy. So I think that most people really got to decide for themselves, what is your goal? You know, if it's simply to be healthy and, live a happy life and successful life, monetarily or whatever, that's a very different strategy than actually accomplishing other things, like saving America or something. Like the thing is this, like
I agree. Yeah, go on.
Oh no, go ahead.
Well, I would say I agree with you. However, foundationally, if you're going to have a big, good effect on, as you're saying, like the macro picture America, that foundation of at least being healthy, right? Being healthier than you were if you were somebody that we were describing would be a good foundation, a good first step towards doing it. Now, you could be super unhealthy and do some good things, but I think that would be an anomaly. Because in general, if you're super unhealthy, your brain isn't working to its potential. Your emotions are not balanced because your diet is not balanced.
Yeah, I'll give you an example really briefly. So like I thought I was doing pretty healthy and stuff, and then I realized I had like mold in my apartment basically. So
Black mold.
some kind of mold, I don't know, but basically I realized that was making me very sick. And so
Yeah.
once I removed that, I felt a lot better, and then everything else I'm doing got tenfold maximized because I got rid of that one thing, right? So
Yeah.
that's another, and so I just use that as an example. Like my thinking wasn't 100%, my emotions, like you said. So, but and I agree with what you're saying. I think that we have to balance our health with everything else. And I think another thing is like we're social creatures. So your love life, your friendship, like I have very few in-person friends because I've kind of chosen this pursuit of truth and all these things. But then the thing is, like, you have to balance that with actually like being able to hang around normal people. Now it's weird when I travel and I go to a new place, I have no problems meeting and hanging out with people. So it could be the place you're at, it could be the situation that you're in. Sometimes you just have to move or travel or do something to get out of the rut that you're in, whatever the situation may be, or switch careers or whatever. And I think that's another part of it, is like your environment kind of becomes who you are in a lot of ways too. So,
I
or
agree.
even if it doesn't become you, it changes the way you react. You know, like for me, I spend a lot of time not going around places that make me like you're a soldier before, right? Like you have a hyper vigilance. So if you go into a place where there's a lot of criminally oriented people, it's probably a very stressful environment for you because your first instinct is, let's let's neutralize the threat, right? So you see what I'm saying? Like we all have to think in these kind of.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. That's a great point you brought up, or multiple points, really. So here's what I would say. You know, this is anecdotal a little bit, but just to get into it, I have one friend who is probably healthier than me. He really is on his shit. I'll just leave it at that. The other one, he's a little bit overweight, and he definitely indulges in junk food. However, he has been working on, I mean, for some time, but he's been making steps and strides over the years to become healthier. And I'm not saying that's because of his other two close friends that I'm describing, me being one of them, but I'm sure that we have in some ways affected him positively. And that is a good thing. He's also not just like, I'm going to eat junk food and fuck you guys, fuck myself. He recognizes, he's bothered to do the research. And again, he's gotten healthier over time, like over the years. He's still working on it, but that working on it, that effort, that bother to, get the knowledge, the information, which is pretty simple in a way, but in today's environment, it can be complex because there's a lot of, false prophets in terms of fad diets or food that is advertised as healthy, but is really not healthy in many ways.
Well, so you're bringing up a couple things of mine. So if you don't mind, I want to just expound on this because I don't know how much concentration I have left in my brain right now.
Yeah,
so,
go for it.
Because I appreciate these kind of conversations because it gives me a chance to kind of like really think about like what is the prioritization of these things. And so like number one, I would say like relationships and stress are so fundamental. So like what I mean is if you're in a bad marriage, you're in a bad career, you're in a bad like living situation, those things alone can destroy all the gains of all the dieting that you do, all the whatever. And I know that sounds unrealistic. Maybe I'm overstating it, but I don't think so. I mean, you've got to look at the environment, number one. And then out from that, so here's where I would say is like, what would you say is like, see, I have mixed feelings on this because like I was trying to do the keto diet, for example, right? And then I found like maybe that works if you're in a very low stress environment, But what I found was, for me in particular, like, I'm in a higher stress environment, not really for any major reason, just because, like, I'm trying to accomplish a few things and I'm a little bit distracted with all this politics and other things I've encountered. So I went back to just like a normal, like, white boy diet, and I lost weight. So I'm like, okay, so I can eat a little bit worse food, but it lessens my stress and allows me to go about my day without thinking about what I'm eating all day. So it kind of balanced out, right? And so what I'm saying is, what would you say is like the idea? So, like, I don't work out a lot, but when I do work out, like, I work out hard enough where it actually takes me 3 or 4 days to recover. So it's one of those things where, like, I kind of do like a weird mix of, I guess they call it HITT or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you do it like more sporadic, but it's more intense, I guess. So, and that's working pretty well for me. But what would you say is like the ideal? Like, what would you say for most men? And because women's a little bit different, but I think all women should be in Pilates and yoga. Personally, I think like that bare minimum. Like, that's my personal opinion. But for men, what would you say is like the best diet and exercise routine from your opinion?
Yeah. So let's.
I think yoga's actually. So I just want to say that.
Yeah. So let's say, and I know this is going to be overarching a generalization, but we have to. So let's say average American man, 5'9", right? For instance, maybe ideal weight in terms of if he's eating healthy and exercising, and obviously muscle is going to vary. But let's say around 170-ish pounds, something like that. 160, 170, maybe 180, depending. That probably eating around 2,500 calories a day on average, getting around 150 to 200 grams of protein a day on average, getting the micronutrients from, let's say, weekly, getting a significant amount. Doesn't have to be crazy, but, lettuce, tomato, peppers, cucumber, broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, maybe sweet potatoes, some potatoes, staying away from what I-Fi was talking about, some of those bullshit oils, canola oil, vegetable oil, just those bad oils. They're just not fucking good for you. Trans fats, bunch of bullshit. Getting some fruit, definitely meat is going to be in there. I would say aiming for more of whole grain carbs and keeping the proportion down. I mean, the numbers down for refined sugar. So keeping, whether it's refined sugar or even the fake sugars, down minimally for what he is comfortable with, but definitely not like a couple 100 grams of fucking sugar a day, refined sugar, no way. Then exercise, gym, intense anaerobic workout, 3 to 5 times a week, depending again on him, his goals. And then cardiovascular exercise, such as jogging. Guns brought it up, jogging, burpees. I run and then I'll do sprints alternating. So I'll go to the gym 3 days a week, or 3 days in a row rather, do anaerobics, so heavy lifting, anywhere between, let's say, 6 reps for a set up to like 20, depending on the exercise, the day, etc. About 45 minutes to an hour in the gym, something like that. And so every 4th day, I'll take off from the gym, and I'll either run or do sprints, and I fucking hate sprints. They're terrible, but I do them. I'll run all out, and I'll do them for like 15 minutes. Probably want to work up to more like a half hour. When I go on a run, it's probably 15 minutes, run like, 1.5 to 2 miles in there. I don't really time it. Outside of that, yoga once or twice a week, I would say. I probably could use more even. Given my injuries, again, it will matter, person to person. So within all of that, got my strength training, stretching, eating healthy, right? These types of things. What else? Obviously, cleaning yourself. That's another thing, but goes into health. Right, obviously showering daily, flossing, brushing, these things matter. Your mouth health matters to your overall health, just like everything else. So, in a nutshell, that's basically it. Did I leave anything out, or was there anything else you wanted to know?
Well, I'll give you like weird things that come to mind. So, like, for me, one of the weirdest like hacks I ever learned about working out was do a shitload of reps for your legs and do lower reps for your upper body. And it's like seems to work weirdly well. So like, the fact that I can do like 5 pull-ups is pretty fucking good. Most people can't even do one. And I couldn't do pull-ups when I was younger, but now I can. And I'm really heavy. Like for my size, I'm very heavy, but I look leaner than I am just because like I do a lot of those pull-ups, I do a lot of stretching, I can run, so it's kind of weird how like even with excess weight, the fact that I can do certain things that people who are lower weight can't is really interesting. It's like, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it varies. That sounds sort of subjective, but yeah, I see where you're going with it.
Well, what I mean is like, if you do, like, I thought the deadlifts or like squats, right? I thought squats, you just squat really heavy, and I had bad knees, so I couldn't really squat heavy, right? So now what I started doing is doing body weight squats, and I can do like 50 in a row. That's really fucking hard, but my knees stopped hurting. So you know what I mean? So like,
yeah, definitely form overweight. A lot of the gym culture is how much can you lift, or how big can you get, or how ripped can you be, and a lot of times that will make you prone to injury, and I think also prone to just getting off track at some point. Because your physique, although I get it, it's important to people, no doubt. It's also superficial. There's a lot of, people with naturally good physiques who aren't necessarily healthy. And
Also, there's diminishing returns on the bigger your muscles get. Like once your muscles get balanced in your body, you don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever. That's like peak health. So the bigger you make your muscles, you're not getting healthier. You're just getting like bigger muscles, which can, like you said, be less healthy. It's more stressful, harder on your heart, stuff like that.
yeah, well, and just like the people who do like the ice baths or whatever, like a lot of people don't realize, like, I think that that's really bad for most people, because if you have a lot of stress in your life and you're just stressing your body out by jumping in a fucking ice cold bath of water, like, I think that that's not really the best thing to do. You know what I mean? It's kind of a shock. It's like kind of just like adding stress to your body that's already stressed out. Like one of the best. I'm just saying, like, that's, I don't know. It's kind of a weird way to put it, but I just see that a lot of this stuff is like looking for easy shortcuts and results, when really like reducing stress would have done like 90% of the work for you. You know what I mean? So
that's the single most important factor in your health, and the hardest one to control is stress.
Well, and another thing is this, like, it depends on your goals. Like, if your goal is to like look sexy to get more women, like, I could tell you a lot of fat, overweight, ugly dudes get laid a lot more than guys who go to the gym. It doesn't seem like a lot of people go to the gym religiously for physique are like really getting a lot of ladies and stuff, right? So I'm just saying, like, and even for me, like as a guy, like if I see a woman who's really into workout, like I admire it, right? But I'm not really looking for that. Like, I'd rather have someone who's just like average and like takes care of themselves than someone who's like, oh, I'm gotta go to the gym eight days a week to.
yeah, I am not into women with muscles. Like, I mean, big muscles that look like they power lift. I have never liked that. I will never like it. I do think that some women do that in terms of becoming, like, purposely becoming more masculine, at least externally. And it's so not attractive to me. But, it is what it is.
Well, like,
Like,
I think it's attractive to look at. I don't think it's attractive to actually like be with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I admire it, but it's kind of like from a distance. It's just like a woman who like overly makes herself like pretty and does like, all this makeup, and she dresses sexy and stuff. Like, in general, like, I like the way it looks, but I would never want to have a girlfriend or a wife like that ever. Like, it's just, to me, it's like you're sending out a big fat red signal. Like, I need attention. It's like I can admire it, but it's like, what's the point?
I'm gonna go with based on that one. I'm not a fan of the muscle mommies, but as far as women, the leaner the better. Like, the lean muscle looks good, but not the jacked up roided muscle. look is definitely a turn off.
So I have a theory. I knew a woman who I didn't date her, but she was into like powerlifting comps and this sort of thing, and she was fairly attractive. I mean, just saying, but she got ready for a contest at one point. She was doing some kind of body physique contest, and she was putting her pictures online, and I didn't tell her, but in my mind I was like, this is fucking disgusting. Like this ain't it. And I thought in my head, I could be wrong, maybe I'm getting too meta, but I'm not, that she didn't trust men in a lot of ways, and she wanted to become the man that she wanted, idealized, in terms of, well, I can't find a good strong man, so I'm going to become a good strong man. And I get it in the sense of how I understand that women's minds might differ from men's, but the idea of that being pragmatic, I think, is just kind of wild, because you're going to be what you're going to be. And look, same to men who are, let's say somebody is naturally, I don't know, he's just not muscular. You're probably not ever going to look like Hulk Hogan or Arnold if that's what you want to do. It just isn't in the cards for you. However, you can be the best version of yourself, and that's a very good thing. That should be to you the best thing.
Well, some of those guys, they think that the best thing they can do is dress up like a woman and find a guy that, you know, that they wish they could be. See what I mean? And like, I know that sounds weird, but like I'm telling you, I think that's the weird psychology that's being preyed upon by what the whole system is. I mean, I see it very clearly. It's like they're getting women to want, like you said, what they want to become the man they can't find. And a lot of these guys, they want to become the woman that they can't find.
Right. Yeah, and you are correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a very strange situation. And that's the thing is, like, people don't think of, and that's why I always like talking about Mingle. It's like, just because you can do this weird experiment doesn't should do it, right? So
no, there's a lot of truth to that, Jack, and not just with what we're talking about, but in general. There's so many things, so many times occurrences of, well, I did it because I could, but did you ask yourself if you should?
Is ought. That's how you solve those problems. So, Neural Jack, how do you solve the ought problem?
Well, I personally think that this is probably one of the most important questions I think that we can ask. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I like the Stefan Molyneux answer, which is that just by speaking you've solved the is ought, because by speaking or writing you performatively say that you want people to believe what you're saying. Now, even if you're lying to somebody, you still want them to believe what you're saying in order to control them. So either way, you've bridged the gap. The problem is that language is very, very, very complex, right? And I think that the average person is probably A, too apathetic, or B, nihilistic, or C, too retarded to understand that. So that's the real question, in my opinion. The is odd is actually pretty easy. The problem is, what do you do with it? And I think the truth is most people are not willing to do what needs to be done. And I think I don't want to say it's like a will. I'm not like a will to power person, really. But at the same time, our enemies see it that way. So you have to be honest with yourself in the situation you're in. Some people are willing to use language as a weapon. And if you're not willing to do that, well, you're at a disadvantage. So now what do you do? And I think that's the question.
Yeah.
Okay, Steven. So I would go with Jesus myself, but you know, everybody has their own cup of tea.
So to get a little bit more nuanced here, what do you think about neuro? I mean, this is big in society as far as I'm concerned. The idea of relationships of any kind, but we could go down the Platonic, right, man to woman rabbit hole, that relationships dissolve due to poor communication. And I'll tell you before you answer, I'll just say this. I fucking disagree.
Okay, so I think I can give an answer. First, I want to mention the Jesus thing. I agree, Jesus is the answer. The problem is people are misusing Jesus all the time, every day, and I think that there's simply not enough people pushing back on it. and that's a problem. But to move on to what you said communication is not people not communicating is the problem. What do you?
Right. Like it's a typical trope of
Yeah.
there's problems in the relationship because the communication is bad.
Miscommunication's worse than not communicating.
Well,
hear that.
yeah, go on, Earl.
Well, contextualize what you mean by that first, just because I don't want to talk past you. Contextualize.
Well, I mean, that is the context, right? This is what people say. Now, what they mean by that, maybe I don't understand. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. But I take it as, for instance, people talking about, oh, my relationship with my husband or wife or whatever it is, isn't good because of our communication. If only we could learn to communicate better.
Yeah, I think it's if you're talking about men and women, and even men, I definitely think it's man. This is actually a very hard question. I think
I agree.
it depends on what you mean, and I hate to say that, but I think it really depends on what you mean. I think the way most people use that is actually like, I want to manipulate you, so therefore I tell you that your communication sucks. I think that's what by that.
Yeah,
So,
that is part of it. And I also think that it's more like there is respect gone, and that is, just kind of coped in terms of, oh, we don't have good communication. No, your communication is accurate. You just don't like the communication. Because the truth is, as far as I know, most communication is nonverbal. Or at least it's not in and of the words themselves, right? How you say them, and obviously men and women communicate with each other or naturally differently. No doubt about that.
well, yeah. So I agree with you, and I think the nonverbal communication is so much more valuable than what people realize. Like I could say, like, let me put it this way, without getting personal. I think that you simply sitting next to a woman and saying nothing, you already know what's going to happen or not happen without opening a fucking word out of your mouth. That's my personal opinion. Okay. You don't need to say anything for most people to know what's going on between men and women. Same thing in general for men. If I walk into a room with like 80, let's just say 8 guys in a room, right? In the first minute, I pretty much picked out probably who I'm going to be cool with and who I want to punch in the face. So, that's just my opinion,
Right. So sort of what is called the vibe, but we could call nonverbal communication, right? Things that we pick up on. Attitude, the energy, not to be woo-woo, but there is energy, right? If you can tell somebody's in a good mood, a bad mood, somebody's a fucking dickhead, whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think that really a lot of the times, like you said, like when people say communication with talking, like I think that talking is one of these things that, and this is actually goes back to technology about why I'm so passionate about the whole technology thing. Like the medium becomes the message in a lot of ways, a little bit more.
Yes.
Where it's also like it's a weapon. I mean, words are weapons, and it depends on what you're doing with them at the time. And I could tell you again, like most relationships, the words are just either icing on the cake, or they're wedges to be put in between people, or they're whatever. I mean, they can get shit done, right? It's a tool set, right? It can be used as a tool or a weapon. And I think that most people are not skilled, or they don't care enough, or they don't comprehend or really care, I guess, to cultivate things with the tools. So they're either being affected by them, or they'll just wield them like a kid with a gun, not realizing how much damage it can do. And I think that that's kind of the very basic way I would put it. Like I think that people use that talking about communication is the key. Yes, obviously, but what do you mean by it, and what's your goal? And again, I think a lot of the conversations come back to desire. People don't want to talk about what they want. And like I can tell you, like the biggest mistakes I ever made in relationships always came from me not saying, "Hey, this is what I want. If you don't want it, get the fuck out." Like that would save you 90% of all your problems right there. So
I want good and intelligent people.
And we have one up here. What up, Crispy?
Hi. I don't want to be punched in the face.
No.
So please don't punch me in the face.
So speaking of communication, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught the very beginning of the stream, Crispy, but pulled up Cynthia's newest video, and Lindsay got the perma ban.
Oh.
So I've seen enough is enough, right? I see everything, but I stay out of drama to a degree, to the degree that I feel like not getting in the middle, giving people chances, and many times too many fucking chances.
Yeah.
Well, today we banned a few people from chat, kicked a few people off of the fucking panel, and
Oh my
is what it is.
God. That's amazing. I mean, yeah, I stay out of drama, believe it or not. I stay out of drama as well. And so for the, I've been on the internet for 1,000,000 years and I've never had this kind of trouble. I don't go on the internet to try and alienate other women or
I don't believe you do.
Yeah.
And, you and I have been on plenty of panels together, and, everything that I've seen has been nothing nefarious or bad out of you. And look, Lindsay has come up here quite a few times talking about she wants help. The last time was about her impulse, right? This was her communicating, as we're speaking of right now.
Right.
Communicating, but her actions continue to show the opposite. And look, Cynthia, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. What needs to be done, gonna get fucking done. So it's done.
That's amazing, Based. I think that honestly, I feel so supported in that, and I know Cynthia does as well, because we really have tried every different method that we know how to do, and ignoring doesn't work. It just it just makes her do other things, and to give somebody's phone number out is
well, yeah, I saw that, right? It's
Yeah.
doxing to a degree, whatever we're to call it. And, look, this topic is on American distress. We're talking about the macro picture, the big picture, as well as the micro pictures, right? Things that affect our lives. And something you've heard out of me, probably everyone here, is that we vote with our time, our money, our attention. And I am no longer voting for XYZ, this person, that person, no longer giving them attention, no longer need their money, whatever it is. I don't care. At some point, principles need to be in play. And when I see certain lines crossed, that's it. And the lesson is whatever the person wants to take it as. Hopefully, they take it as, I burned this fucking bridge for good, and I won't fuck up next time, or as bad, or whatever. Now, whatever happens with these people, whoever it is, that's on them. I am in no control of it. But you're no longer getting my attention.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm actually just stunned, and I mean, it's I'm stunned that you took that stance, and I can't say that it's I mean, I don't want to just go into anything more, but it does make me happy, and I know it makes it not happy. I shouldn't say that, but it just is nice when you feel supported, because I felt like me reacting, the time that I've reacted, has made me look a certain way, and I was nervous about that. I didn't want people to think that I just went off for no reason, like unhinged. I would never do such a thing.
Look, you good, Crispy. I understand, and I was there.
Yeah,
And
I
what
know.
up, Cynthia? Cynthia just joined here.
Ooh,
If anyone didn't know.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah. This
How
is
are
what you
you?
were talking about. She sent me the link or whatever, and then I thought that I started from the beginning, and I went in fast mode, but I was like, well, he's talking about diets. I'm not sure if this, like, I didn't know, Cynthia. I was like, oh, what's going
Yeah,
on?
I was shocked when you did that, because I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
So much on YouTube, when you do have situations on YouTube with other people, oftentimes you're just on your own. You're solo. No matter what happens, everybody's like, hey, that has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to be involved in it. So when you did that, I was like taken back. At
Yeah.
first,
I
I thought
know.
you
I
were going
am
to be mad
too.
at me, because
Well,
I feel like
well, I'm not anyway. I mean, look, I'm glad to hear, that it makes you feel good, let's say, but I guess I'm disappointed that the picture I have is that I wouldn't do that would be shocking. And look, I've given a lot of leeway, and I talked about this earlier. I've given a lot of leeway to too many people on YouTube in particular, and a lot of that has gone away. We banned multiple people today from chat. Somebody got banned, a new person on the panels, and Lindsay is permabanned. So it
Oh
is
my
what it is.
God. Yeah, and I know that Cynthia came away from the conversation last night over at Flo's a little defeated because Flo apologized to me for fussing at me, but yeah, I mean it's one thing. I feel like they have done the same thing. They have reacted to drama and the same way that we did, I mean, we've ignored. My approach was to kill with kindness. That didn't work. I mean, that's always my approach. But I kind of get a little annoyed about people that want to say like, well, she's obviously having a hard time, and it's a trauma response, and we've all had trauma. We all have.
Yeah.
And I can't control what happens in my life. I can only control how I react to it. And when your actions do not match what you're saying, and it varies in a huge way when you're around men or when certain people are around. I mean, oh God, yeah.
And look,
It's a lot of that.
I intend to treat people as they are to a degree, right? I know we talked about last night. I talked about with Joe Cool, as it would be,
Yeah.
right? Whether or not we were viewing this as him as a man or a woman or just anyone, and just getting into the distinction. So, for instance, I went a lot lighter in terms of the permaban with Lindsay than I would with a man. I'm just telling you.
Of course.
But nonetheless, what needs to be done needs to be done.
Well,
And
and just on
yeah,
that point, you mentioned that this is where in warfare people find your weaknesses and they exploit them, and I think that this is a big part of what we're seeing happen on here. And I wanted to
you're
ask
right.
on this note, just really quick, because Cynthia said before, and this is not an attack on you, Cynthia. Please understand what I'm trying to get. You said something before. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. But then someone steps over a line. So I guess what I'm asking is, how do we draw the line when we're trying to like get certain things done, and then people are breaking the rules of engagement? Like,
Yeah.
obviously seems to have happened. So how do we draw the lines? Would you say?
Well, for me, this was my personal line. This is Tarek and I have had issues in the past on the internet, and it got pretty bad at one point between him and I. And then she's the one that stepped in, and she was like, "Oh, I've talked to Tarek. He's gonna leave you alone," and which was good. But the line was drawn when she keeps just randomly doing these things to me, or when somebody unprovoked attacks you. And I've said this before, you can't take a shot at somebody and then regulate how they respond. I guess to answer your question, we all have to set our own personal boundaries. And a lot of times people don't set the boundaries, or they set them and don't stick to them. And so for me, this is a boundary. And when you crossed it, I needed to react just because I didn't want to hold it in. If I hold in this anger and rage, it can make you sick, as we're up here talking about health and about the way that you eat and the way that you sleep and drink water. But also a part of that is not walking around angry, not holding bitterness or regrets.
Yeah, you have to surround yourself with people that that make you a better person. That if you hung around people that were doing these kinds of things all the time, like just their entire purpose for being on the internet is to harass or troll or all of that stuff. I imagine, not for me personally, but I can imagine there are a number of people that could get really kind of go with the crowd mentality and join in on harassing somebody. um Me myself, like for instance, I've said this a million times, in the true crime community, it gets really dirty over there. The rules of engagement are ridiculous. And if somebody hurts your feelings, it's a lot of, it's a lot of soccer moms that are bored and really right fight over there. And I think, uh, for instance, like they call CPS on people, and they call the police on people, and which they'll refer to it as a SWAT. um, I have no idea why anybody would ever even publicly speak about that. If that happened to me, um, if it happened to me, I was just threatened with it the other day on Cynthia's channel. Somebody came in and was like, "I'm calling CPS on you, Crispy." I'm like, "Well, call away. You're welcome to do just that." However, I would have never spoken about it. It would have never even given him the satisfaction of knowing that they came or any of that. I mean, I don't know why anybody would. It's taking the bait that they are setting out, and they've got you eating out of the palm of their hand at that point when they have you all enraged, and I just would never do such a thing. Now with Cynthia's case last night, you know this girl put this in another chat, when 2 days before that she was in here asking advice and just being as sweet as she could possibly be to the panelists up here. And Based, I thought you were going to help me with how I react to things. She doesn't want that help. And she really doesn't. She doesn't. She's done no work on herself. When her and I got into the fight, she basically came up and was saying like that she has realized, and she was so sorry for her mistakes, and it wasn't her job to tell me all how many people hate me and all this stuff. Well, that would be, it was so disingenuous because she had just done it 2 days before that. And I mean, it was consistently done. So she gives the impression that she wants, she's working on herself. She gives the impression that she wants to help. She asks for advice, and that's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And so when you realize that no matter what you do, um, how you react or not react, or what, no matter what you do, she's going to have a strategy to combat that. I mean, she was going hardcore until at me, and it wasn't working. The crowd was not behind her. Like, go get her, I mean, and when that didn't work, she adjusted the strategy. And therefore she went with the, "I don't have any friends, and the worst has happened to me thus far." I would be scared to death to say such a thing as "the worst has happened to me." It can't get any worse. I've already been through the worst. I I assure you, she has not been through the worst, and things can always get worse. And so, just the idea that when things don't work, she'll go to such an extra mile, just the extra lengths to be a victim, to put out your own nude photos to make Flo seem as if he was blackmailing her. That's a